something like whatever that you estimated for a 1 million and you end up spending 3 million on projects. That's what normally happens in the large-scale enterprise CRM projects. Okay, so this is a little for the guys who are actually in the pre-sales, right? So I've been confronted with a lot of questions when I go to my existing customers and talk about the cloud CRM. They say, hey, it's 2 years back, you just came and said that this is the application which you need to implement, and now you're coming back and saying I need to move to a cloud CRM, right? So where comes the customer? Actually, you need to justify it, right? So a lot of customers still have this doubt, actually. Would I be able to fit my CRM system into the cloud? So for that, first you need to figure out how the cloud CRM fits into the enterprise current technology environment, into the current data, into the overall process and operating model environment. That's important because you cannot go and just say that, yes, the rest of the customers are moved to the cloud and you also need to move to the cloud. You need to understand the customer's environment. The second most important is that majority of these cloud CRMs are built based on the business processes, right? So that's important actually. For example, most of these applications comes with a robust business process accelerators. So even, for example, I am Fusion certified and majority of my consultants are Fusion certified. So when you start developing a Fusion CRM application, we wouldn't go and start developing a module. We would start developing process. Right? So some of the set of the process, we would take that process and start developing those processes. That's the advantage of having the cloud CRM based application. And the most important is the customer needs to understand. See, a lot of customers have implemented the enterprise CRM, right? For them, it is a kind of a write-off cost. If you're asking them, shelve your enterprise CRM and go for a cloud CRM, you need to make them understand it is a one-time wave of which you're going to do, but over the period of 5 years or 6 years, your entire expenditure of maintaining the enterprise CRM is going to come down. Okay, so you can almost save 40 to 60% of the money which you spend year on year in maintaining your enterprise CRM. And the most important part is that when we talk about anything on the cloud or SaaS, we are moving away from a CRM. We are actually talking about a customer experience, and to an extent an employee experience, right? When an employee is there, he need not install anything in his laptop, he need not worry about when this application is going to break, right? He can be able to access this with his laptop, with his mobile. Even if some of the application also gives you a provision to work on a disconnected mode. Okay, it's like, for example, some of the apps which you have in your mobile where you can do the work and synchronize it later. So this is some of the advantage which you need to take it to the customer when you talk about the cloud. Okay, so a lot of questions, right? For example, when I remember 2 years back when we talked about some of the cloud CRM applications, a lot of questions were asked about it. How about the security of the application? And most important is that when you say something is not running in the enterprise or on-premise, a lot of questions would come asking, how do I control my applications, right? And the next question is that reliability. How do I rely on this application? If something breaks down and the entire sales operation comes for a standstill. And then the other question is lock-in period, right? A lot of customers fear that if they start using a product of a Microsoft, an Oracle, or a SAP, right, on a subscription mode, they're almost getting locked, right? So this is some of the questions which were predominantly asked during the period. Now the system vendors have come up with all the justifications to make sure that giving a right perspective to the customer, like they would have control, they would have the reliability, and there will not be any lock-on period, as well as the security. Some of the vendors have actually certified the data centers, right? So you take any standards, right? All these data centers of Oracle, Microsoft, Salesforce, all being certified. And they also give you an option of going for a private cloud, which means you can carve out your own data and applications that you want to recur in a data center. Or if you can also choose to go for a public cloud. The public cloud still doesn't mean that they will not have access to the sorry guys, actually, sorry, some interruption. So the public cloud doesn't mean that the data would get accessed by other people. Not. There is a lot of security that has been implemented by the vendors to make sure the data is not getting shared. Okay. So the other question is that why these people are moving towards the cloud? Okay, the most important thing is that it's been debated a lot of time what an enterprise should do. An enterprise should focus on its business or should focus on the IT and technology. I would say for any enterprise other than an IT company or a system integrator, they need to focus on the right business. If it's a consumer goods company, they should make sure that they are focusing their attention and energy on the consumer goods products and make sure they do a lot of R&D on the products rather than trying to implement a new solution, develop an IT arm within the enterprise to manage all this application. So the most important part here is that the cloud gives us the opportunity to continue to focus on the core competency, and rest of the IT stuff is being taken care of by the system vendors. Okay, so then comes the most important question of the security, right? So today, the cloud gives us the provision to use a lot of this Net 2.0 features, right? It has got a robust UI. When you look at any of this cloud application, you almost get the feel of you're accessing anything like a Facebook or like your Hotmail or Live, and a lot of this, some of the advanced websites actually, right? Which was not available earlier. When you use an enterprise CRM, normally you would have seen some of the dull screens that are coming up actually, right? But clouds with the 2.0 provisioning, you would see the screens, that UI is very much enriched. And you can also have the provision to integrate with Facebook or any of this using a social listener. And the best part is it also gives you a mobility access. Okay, so of all that, how could I take care? Because all this data and application, everything is running in one of the secure data centers by the respective vendors. So they make sure that when any of your when you subscribe for any of these services, all your data and application configurations, whatever you're doing, it's being secured. So that's the most important part of the security. And the other thing is the rapid deployment. Okay, so if you take any of this SaaS-based CRM, it helps you to rapidly deploy this application. And not only the rapid deployment, if you look at one time you develop, and it could be accessed with your laptop, with your mobile, and any of the other handheld devices. Okay, so if you look at the enterprise CRM, you have to develop a separate application for your laptop, and if you want to have something running in your PDA devices, you need to have a separate applet that is being designed. But with SaaS provisioning, right, you have to develop once and you can deploy it anywhere. Okay, the most important part here is the system integrators, right? So, of all said, are we going to say that the system integrator is he going to have the complete control of the cloud CRM? Yes, of course, he is going to have a complete control of the cloud CRM application. So that's where you should see that if you take any of the products like a Fusion or a Salesforce, it gives you a flexibility of a development environment, right? You can develop, you can customize, and you can deploy. Only on the deployment stage, the product vendors gives you an environment where whatever that's been developed, you can be able to deploy it safely in the vendor environment. And also you need a system integrator to walk you through to understand some of the basic business processes which you need to use, because the SaaS, as we said, it will allow you to customize, but it will not allow you to customize against the best practices, right? So there are some boundaries that are being defined. The system integrators play a key role in making sure the customer understands those boundaries and they're able to implement the system according to the standards. Okay, so this is one more slide. Okay, I just borrowed it from the Microsoft, where beautifully depicting about the cloud, actually, right? So what are the top 3 reasons people are considered to go for cloud, right? Reducing IT staffing cost, reducing infrastructure cost, and supporting unpredictable workloads. And if you look at the top 3 concerns which we talked about, the security, loss of control, and the cost. In addition to that, a lot of opportunities you would see. For example, if you take a Microsoft Dynamics, it gives you fantastic flexibility for you to integrate with your Office products. Also the Oracle products like a Fusion. Whatever today, for example, you have an integration between a Fusion CRM and an Outlook, you need not open your Fusion CRM application at all. Whatever you do in the Outlook integration, Outlook automatically gets integrated with your Fusion CRM. Okay, say for example, I want to create an opportunity for a contact. So what you need to do is just go to your contacts in the Outlook, and you will see there is an opportunity tab that is presented here. Pick up the contact and start entering the opportunity, put the dollar value, and start entering the activities as a calendar item. And you see this is automatically synchronized with Fusion CRM. The same is the case with Microsoft Dynamics or for Salesforce, right? So it gives an inbuilt integration to a lot of the products, not only for the Outlook and Microsoft products. There are a lot of other accelerators. If you see, for example, the Salesforce Apps Exchange, the Apps Exchange today has more than 100,000 vendors have registered the product, right? And it also gives you a flexibility to buy some of the apps and start integrating them, right? It could be like, for example, a revenue management. So a Fusion CRM, sorry, a Salesforce application can have an app which could do kind of a revenue